How many have had the days where you achieved this huge goal and your brain always wanted it and you got it, and then your brain went, is this all there is? Who's been there? It's the worst experience. It's worse than failing, isn't it? Because most of you are achievers, so failure never stops you. You just look at it as a little bump on the road. I'll try something, what? But when you succeed and you fail, when you succeed and you're not fulfilled, a few years ago, I actually lecture on this now. I say, you need two skills to have the quality of life you want. If you want an extraordinary life on your terms, whatever your terms are, you need to master the skill of the science of achievement. You got to figure out, how do I take what I dream about and make it real? And it's a science. And you can model it to people, and you can learn, you can speed up. I've spent my lifetime doing that. But the second skill, and the one that most people don't give enough value to culturally, is more important. And that is, you need to alter, if you want an extraordinary life, how many people do you know that have achieved it? How many have done this? Who's achieved a goal? It was a big goal. You worked your ass off and you achieved it. And then your brain went, is this all there is? Who's had one of these moments? Yeah, almost everybody. And that's worse than failing, because we're all achievers in this room, right? So if you fail, what are you gonna do? You get back up, you try another approach, you're gonna eventually succeed. You know it in your gut if you're really driven. But if you succeed and you're miserable, now you're what I call technically screwed. If you're not happy with what you got, failing, you get up and do something new, but succeeding, where do you go? So I really believe, you look at somebody like, say, Robin Williams. I think the loss of him is one of the greatest losses we had. He's loved worldwide. I asked people all over the world last year, in China, I asked them in Japan, and Sydney, Australia, throughout the US, was he an overachiever? I'm gonna have a beautiful family, he does that. Then he says, I wanna make more money than I could spend, he does that. Then he says, I wanna make movies, he does that. Then he says, I wanna win an Academy Award for not being funny, his number one skill, and he did it. And then he hung himself in his own home, leaving his wife and children to find his lifeless body. How do you explain that? Here's a man who's loved by tens of millions of people all over the earth, and we really love them. He lit everybody up except himself. A really good man, but he suffered for decades because he succeeded. But clearly the suffering was there. The suffering was why he did cocaine. It's why he drank alcohol to extreme, why he did the things he did. And then in the end, he had a disease, but his body was worn out. How many have had the days where you achieved this huge goal and your brain always wanted it and you got it, and then your brain went, is this all there is? Who's been there? It's the worst experience. It's worse than failing, isn't it? Because most of you are achievers, so failure never stops you. You just look at it as a little bump on the road. I'll try something, what? But when you succeed and you fail, when you succeed and you're not fulfilled, he's a warning. As much as we all loved him, even more so because we loved him. I know none of you are going to kill yourself. I'm not worried about that. But a lot of people live a long time, but they don't really live, because they let their stress and their frustration, I always say achievers don't get fearful. We're all achievers, right? We don't get fearful, we just get stressed. Stress is the achiever word for fear. So when I say to you, what are you stressed about? Well, I got to do this, I got to make this thing happen. What if you don't? Well, I got to. Well, what if it'll fall apart? What if it falls apart? Then it'll fail. What if it fails? Then I'm a failure. What if you're a failure? And now if I follow the trail of your stress, it'll take me to your deepest fear. And the only way to have your life work is to face that fear and push through it. What is courage? Courage does not mean you're not afraid. It means you're afraid and you do it anyway. But you do it anyway. And I think if you're going to succeed at the highest level, you've got to face this fear. I always say to people, really, when did you define yourself? Really, how many years ago did you come up with what you could and couldn't do in your life? How many years ago? Most people, if they really look at how they're living their life today, it's based on a set of standards, a set of beliefs that they made choices about 10, 20, 30 or more years ago. Very often we made decisions in our youth or very young about what to believe, about what we were capable of, about who we are as a person, and that becomes the glass ceiling, if you will, that controls us. There's a corny metaphor, but it's true. I'm just saying, whatever you really want, wants don't get met consistently, standards do. Whatever you identify, this is who I am. And so it's not so much about changing your identity as there's expanding it. Deciding that, instead of your goal is to lose 10 pounds, which is not compelling, what if your vision was to get back to my fighting weight? This year, this month, this next 90 days, I'm going to transform my body. I'm going to take on a new challenge. I'm going to find some technique or strategy. There's a million of them that can reframe myself where I want to feel younger, stronger, more vibrant than ever before. Here's my reasons. Because I want the energy to really make my life work. Because it's tough out there and I want to be stronger than I've ever been before. I want to go in front of the mirror and if I'm naked, not, want to laugh. I want to look there and take a good look and go, yeah, I'm proud of whatever I see there. Whatever it takes, something's gonna make you laugh, smile, something's gonna tease yourself, but something's gonna move you to another level. If you identify yourself in a new way and you own that every day, and that becomes the standard of how you live, you'll find the way to make that standard real.